There's a lot of talk about Blackrock lately coming in, obviously. Within the last year, obviously 9 months or so, we've had SBF blow himself up in shorting Bitcoin, right? So there's been a lot of talk about Blackrock, how they're doing that. There's been a lot of talk about the gold and silver prices being manipulated. And Joe Calassari said this morning, actually, on Cafe Bitcoin on one of the Twitter spaces, he was saying that if you've read the actual fines or the agreements, I guess, which I doubt many have, I have not. He said that it was like a penny per whatever. I don't know what it was. But he said that wasn't the reason why gold and silver have been manipulated so incredibly much. He said one of the big reasons in his mind were because they weren't channeled into ETFs. They're not included in a lot of the pension, a lot of the retirement planning. So you have this world where supply of gold and silver have gone up a ton over the years, and you don't have this new supply coming into the gold and silver markets. Now, I tend to not totally agree, because there's a reason why central banks have been buying so much of the gold and silver, right? Especially Russia and China over the last 10 years, last decade or so. They know something we don't. So I would push back on Joe a little bit with that. And I think I had jumped down from the stage already. So I wanted to push back, but I think I had jumped down from the stage, so I couldn't ask him that question. But that's something that we have to take into consideration when it comes to Bitcoin, right? Gold and silver, again, I still believe that it is being manipulated, but I believe it's being manipulated more than we're even told. So I think that, Joe's an attorney. So this is nothing against Joe, but Joe's an attorney. I'm married to an attorney. So he's going to take things on surface level. He's a critical person by nature. Those are attorneys. But at the same time, I am a little more tinfoil hat. Who's to say these documents, it doesn't matter if they're court documents or not, under oath, doesn't matter. As we've seen a million times, guys, this is trust but verify. Everything is trust but verify. Trust and verify what I'm saying. Question everything with boldness. But when you have people and entities constantly lying under oath, two-tier justice systems, do you think there's any reason we should just totally believe and say, oh yeah, with only 1 cent per ounce or whatever that you're manipulating it? They're manipulating it. Like it's been admitted. And so we're then supposed to believe that that's the exact amount in the paperwork that they're again, call me naive, call me whatever, right? But this is why I prepare a certain way, and it's done very well for me for over a decade, and it continues to do very well for me. I sleep very well at night. And they're easy things to do. This is why I advocate for very simple and easy things, primary assets to protect and defend yourself and then grow your wealth. You should not have to be a day trader and a hedge fund manager to get ahead in life and figure out how you're going to beat inflation, how you're going to beat the interest rate, how you're going to beat the Wall Street at their game. This is ludicrous. And this is, again, why I advocate for Bitcoin, a new world where you can just save what you were taught to do forever, just save in a finite asset for your finite time and accrue, hedge the dollar collapse and accrue more purchasing power over time and get wealthier over time as prices all collapse against Bitcoin. This is it. This is the reason why, because this helps the most amount of people with the least amount of work. Literally. You don't have, no one's going to be a hedge fund manager. I've tried this game. I tried to educate people for 10 years with a real estate business where I'd go on, I'd do Facebook Lives, I'd do all kinds of videos, do all kinds of stuff, trying to educate people. Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how we're making money with other people's money. We're creating infinite returns. And no one did it. I mean, no one can do it. They all invested with me. They all, I would raise money from them because they couldn't do it. They're like, hey, sorry, I have a job, but can you invest my money? So it's frustrating because I realized over 10 years, I was like, wow, cool, I'm getting wealthy and I'm helping some other lenders make money, and then I'm helping the tenants, we're making nice housing, but it doesn't help 8 billion people. It doesn't help people in the global south. It doesn't help people being trafficked. It doesn't help any of those people, right? What is my calling? What is God calling me to do? And it was the greatest game. And many of us, I believe all of us, are called to participate in the greatest game. And that's helping the most amount of people possible. Ephemeralization. Doing the best you can to help the most amount of people with the least amount, right? Ephemeralization. And doing more with less type of thing, right? Bucky Fuller talked about this all the time. So the gold issue is, they were manipulating it. And the problem is you can't audit what China or Russia has. You can't audit even what's here at Fort Knox. You can't audit what's in the banking system. We have no idea. And how do you even assay it? Where is it at? Can you even get to it? And if you even get to it, how do you assay it? And how do you keep a ledger of it constantly 24/7 all the time, perfectly updated? You can't. That's the problem. There's such an arbitrage opportunity and there's such a gap, a margin for what's truth and what's not in the paper markets and the gold and silver market, that's where there's all this manipulation by the guys and gals at the top. Hence, Bitcoin comes in. Now we have this world where BlackRock tries to screw around, whatever they try to do. And again, Joe said, oh, they can't screw around because it's going to the ETF. It's algorithms that just do the trading exactly. And then they acquire the Bitcoin. And that's fine. That might be fine. SBF, we did a different way, right? He was selling short. He was selling fake Bitcoin. And he got. There's going to be more people that do that as well. They're going to try to short Bitcoin. And then, this is the beautiful part though. When they start seeing that actually happen though, and maybe if BlackRock doesn't do that and they can't do that, that's fine. But SBF will do it. There'll be another SBF, and there'll be some more. But then eventually, over the next year, couple years, next epoch, the next 4 years or so, the next halving cycle, is probably when a lot of it gets cleaned out by 2028. And you start seeing people, this is where the saying, you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. You'll start seeing meritocracy and accountability coming back into the world, because you'll start seeing people looking around saying, oh my goodness, people have gotten blown up so many times trying to short Bitcoin and trying to scam the system, right? You can't scam Bitcoin, but you can scam paper Bitcoin, fake Bitcoin, right? What SBF did, selling more claims in a digital app than there actually was, right? But the Bitcoin protocol can't be scammed. The Bitcoin protocol isn't scammed. You can run a node and audit on your computer, right? You can audit it every second of every day, all the time, every 10 minutes, TikTok, next block. You can continue to do this over and over again and be a part of the system. It has a supply that's limited, it's finite, it's inelastic. You have a monetary issuance policy that doesn't change. Every 4 years, there's a halving. The supply issuance gets cut in half. And you can audit it every day, unlike the banks. You have no idea, like their gold and silver, the paper, wherever it is. We have no idea. All the dollars are out there. We have no idea what the euro dollar and everything. Ask Jeff Snyder, right? George Gammon. We have no idea. But we can know exactly where the Bitcoin is and what it's doing, right? And this is separate from the privacy. It's a totally separate conversation. I'm not talking about privacy. And there are ways to be private in Bitcoin. But there's also ways to audit it and know exactly what's going on. And when you short it, you might be able to get away from it a little bit, but you will blow up. You will be gone eventually. And this is, again, where you start to see accountability and responsibility get back into and climb back into the system. And people start realizing, wow, instead of just screwing around, if I just provide value to the world, the only way I can short it, the only way I can sell it off and manipulate price is to sell it. But then I'm left with no Bitcoin. Then I have to go work, actually provide work. Because it's going up in value over time, I have to provide a dang good service or a dang good product for someone else to relinquish that Bitcoin to me, or those Satoshis to me. Think about that. So now you have good actors all incentivized to act appropriately and align their work and their value creation with each other. Governments, people, whoever. Maybe governments don't go away eventually. Government, that's a chance. There's a very real chance governments just cease to exist in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? Because we don't even need that to govern now, because we have a rules-based system that can't be corrupted. So this is the big thing with gold. And again, it's just, I know we did videos on this before a little bit, BlackRock and the gold, but it was just some nuance I wanted to add to this and the importance of thinking this through and why Bitcoin is so important and why my allocation has changed over the years. I was way heavier in gold and silver and things like that, but I'm much more heavy now Bitcoin. And, we'll see, maybe potentially selling other assets, and we'll be selling other assets over time for Bitcoin and real estate, things like that, and going into the hardest asset, the hardest money to ever exist. So please let me know your questions. The gold and silver world is manipulated badly. We know it is, and they've confirmed it. Don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you see in papers. Don't believe everything you see on videos. Trust but verify. Question everything with boldness. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Please share this out, because the algorithm hates truth. And this is freedom advice, not financial advice, freedom advice. Get your Bitcoin, get it off the exchanges, get it into cold storage, into your wallet. It only takes a few minutes. Have a video and a blog post, a link in the description, talking about the simple steps to purchase within minutes and then put it in cold storage. Don't let this deter you. It deterred me in 2017, 2018. I didn't get into Bitcoin until like late 2018 because the wallet thing scared me. But it only takes a few minutes, and then you custody your own assets. You are your own bank. No one can ever do anything about your wealth. So please go back. Like I said, in the last couple of blog posts, in the last couple of videos, link in the description for the blog. Go check that out. Please subscribe to the newsletter, and you get the written versions here. We talk about other different stuff that I don't always talk about on here, obviously, as well. Please go check that out, and you can see how in minutes you can get your Bitcoin and custody it in cold storage. And that's the true world where Wall Street and all the grifters and rent seekers can't do a thing to touch you, and it suffocates their ability to play games with the price and with all of us of Bitcoin, the value of the purchasing power of Bitcoin. So I appreciate it so much, and I appreciate you sharing this out. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.